Hello, good morning. Once again, my name is Judith. I am here as a convener of the 8-week study challenge for the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015. In my earlier video, we looked at part 1 of the Act, where we covered section 1 all the way to section 6. In part 2, we are going to look at section 7 all the way to 32, and we will be looking at bodies involved in the regulation of public procurement and asset disposal. So the bodies are the National Treasury, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, and Public Procurement Administrative Review Board. Section 7, we are going to look at, as you were studying, you looked at the National Treasury and what are the roles of the National Treasury. Section 7, Part 2, I have summarized them in my presentation to be they issue policy guidelines and develop standards in relation to procurement. They offer technical assistance, they issue guidelines, I think I've repeated that. They review existing procurement systems and advise, then they design and prescribe new systems, new procurement systems. But in broader, I can read out some of the roles they carry out, and I'm sure you went through them. They formulate, evaluate, promote, and research on national and county public procurement and asset disposal policy and standards. Policy again. Policy, develop policy guidelines for efficient procurement management and disposal system for national executive. Policy again. They design, prescribe an efficient procurement management system for both national and county governments. They provide technical assistance on procurement and assist in the implementation and operation of the public procurement and asset disposal systems. They manage and administer schemes of service, which is very good. They carry out general research, develop and promote electronic procurement strategies and policies, carry out review of procurement and supply chain management systems to assist procuring entities, develop and review policy systems, develop policy on administration of preference and reservation schemes, facilitate affirmative action, develop and review policies. So the National Treasury is at the helm, it's at the peak there where their major role is development of policies and standards. Then the next body or the next institution which is involved in the in the regulation of procurement, public procurement and asset disposal is the PPRA, Public Procurement Regulatory Authority. Now, National Treasury has given this mandate of overseeing and being on the ground to ensure that the policies and standards are being adhered to. It has given that responsibility to PPRA. So PPRA, on section 8, we are told one of its roles is enforcement of policy and standards. They monitor the implementation of the policies, guidelines, systems, among other things. They advise. They offer technical support on request. They issue standard tender documents, standard procurement documents. They investigate complaints that have been raised in regards to procurement. They do research. They actually now do research on what is and what can be done in regards to the existing processes. And then they also act as the state repository or database on procurement information. We as individual state organs, we forward a lot of information about how we carry out procurements in our entities to PPRA. So PPRA has all that information on behalf of the government. And then PPRA also advises the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury on matters relating to procurement. So that is a responsibility that has been vested upon PPRA that is guided under Section 9. Section 8 tells you what is it that PPRA can do or can't do as an entity. Then after that, now from Section 10 all the way to Section 26 of the Act, we are guided on how the authority is established. For instance, Section 10 talks about the board of PPRA. Who should be a member of that board? What should that board comprise of? What should be the qualifications of board members? What are the responsibilities of that board which has been established within PPRA? And what is the tenure of office? Section 13, tenure of office, for how long will they be there? How will the procedures of the board be carried out? Now, this one, it is found in the first schedule of this act. Who will be the Director General? What are the qualifications? For how long will that Director General be in the office? What will be their roles? What are the terms and conditions while holding that office of the Director General, and also for the staff? The vacancy of the Director General office, how does it arise? How is the Director General of PPRA removed? How is the acting Director General appointed? How are the staff to the authority employed, and what are the terms and conditions? How is PPRA financed? So all the way to, actually not 25, all the way to 26, you are guided on now the internal structures and the internal operations of PPRA. As a practitioner, that might not be touching on you directly, but it is good to note it. Or should you be tasked to explain what PPRA does, you might not do it exhaustively, but you'll be able to refer people on where they can get that information. But largely this section governs the affairs of PPRA as an entity. Then the next organ or the next institution is the Public Procurement Administrative Review Board. This one, its functions and establishment are explained from section 27 to 32. But the major function of the review board is to review, hear, and determine tendering and asset disposal disputes. If a bidder, a potential bidder, has an issue with the way the procurement and asset disposal proceedings were carried out, they raise their concern through the Public Procurement and Administrative Review Board. Section 27 all the way to 32. So just like the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, here we've also been given the functions of the board. We've been shown the composition of the board, of this review board. Review board have their own board. Who should be in that board? What are the qualifications of the members of that board? What is their tenure of office? And what are the terms and conditions of service of those review board members? So in a nutshell, Part 2 of the Act, it gives us bodies or organizations that are involved in regulating the procurement and disposal activities. And they are the National Treasury, they are the PPRA, and they are the Review Board. So within Section 2, we've been given their functions, we've been given how they are established, the various offices, that are within these regulatory bodies and how business is conducted in those bodies. And this is provided by the schedules, which are found at the end of this act. So that's the end of part 2. I hope it is clear you've learned something. Remember, we're here to learn from each other. Thank you so much.